Hey there, folks. I'm Matt Hansen.
And I'm John Johnson.
And you're listening to Planes, Trains, and Comic Books. The podcast where we discuss favorites we've reread, both classic and new comics we want to read, and everything else in between.
And here's the comic we picked this week.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Planes, Trains, and Comic Books. Today, we are touching back on one of our most favorite comic book creators of all time, the wonderful and sorely missed Darwyn Cooke and his wonderful Batman Ego.
Yeah.
Which is his actual first work he ever did for DC Comics. I read the little foreword on this book. It is just a 64-page one-shot that he did. It's actually from a story, I guess him and Bruce Timm had pitched for the animated TV show, and then they were like, nah, we're good. And so then he rewrote it and asked Bruce Timm if it was cool if he rewrote it but kept it similar enough, and then did his own comic, and he was like, yeah, of course. So this is proto everything else we've read so far from him. His first real comic work. I think he might have done other stuff, some covers or other comics for other people, but not Batman, not DC, not what he's known for, kind of thing. Gotcha. So, and then 4 years after this is when he does his magnum opus of New Frontier, which we've read. Go back, check that out because it's fucking awesome.
Because it is absolutely astonishing. It's one of the best.
It's so good. We did the episode twice because the first time we forgot to record or whatever, or somehow the recording got
the recording got corrected.
So we waited a year, then did it again.
Then reread it, have it to be fresh.
Yeah. So, but this one, this was a very, you hadn't seen this before. You'd never heard of this story before, I assume, before?
Nope. Even when we looked at it, it was it's Ego and Other Tales. And like you said, Ego's 64 pages or something.
Right. So to make it worth the $30 price of a hardcover, they're like, well, we'll throw in some other shit. So there's a lot of little things he did for, Batman Black and White, a couple other Solo, which is a series where they have a creator do his own solo story and all this stuff. So they just threw all this in. They did the Selina's Big Score, which is the prequel to his Catwoman run, which we should also check out the first trade of, because him and Ed Brubaker. I was gonna say Dave Brubaker. Ed Brubaker. It's a kind of cool noir, Catwoman. It's a totally different vibe. Yeah, compared to her other stuff, especially in the '90s, which was she got big tits and she's swinging about with her big tits. That's what Jim Belant drew her as or whatever. And it's fun. It's a lot of cheesecake, but a lot of fun stories. I mean, I've read the Night Quest stuff from there. And that's I don't know if that's considered the best stuff out of that run, but it's definitely, the Jim Belant stuff has its followers and the art is really good. It's just very cheesecakey. And Darwyn Cooke, he draws ladies in a different style, but it's still, I think you could still say sometimes it can be cheesecakey. Same with Bruce Timm, where they and for those who don't know, cheesecake is when you draw women sexy or whatever, or voluptuous, and then guys super, muscly and everything. So chiseled, chiseled. So not even voluptuous, because Bruce Timm draws them, thin or whatever. He draws them their style, but they're curvy though. They're curvy, yeah, I guess so. But there are definitely people who go over the top, comparatively to others. So there's tasteful, and then there's Jim Belant.
I was gonna say when we did the Long Halloween, Tim Sale does some.
Tim Sale. Gotta love it.
Yeah, you should go back and listen to that.
I need to find a poster, a life-size Tim Sale Catwoman poster that I could just put on the corner.
Matt really likes that Catwoman outfit.
I'll put it in the office.
He asks his wife probably once a week to when they can get that costume. I'm kidding.
Yeah. I need purple. I need you to wear these thigh-high boots and this purple leotard. No reason.
If you could just do that for me, that'd be great.
And then say
walk around the house.
Say this line.
But in particular, So this is definitely like it's it's Darwyn Cooke style, so it's not as like it's curved, but like in his style, so it's not.
Yeah, and this story particularly doesn't really have any cheesecake or anything in it. It's just literally just Batman versus one of the best villains you could come up for Batman, which is Batman himself. Like, so, which is why it's called Ego, and I like that because it's like the id, like your inner self fighting your other self kind of thing. So, but yeah, so let's get to it. He wrote and illustrated this, and I mean, it's very cool to see his like early Batman art because he's so polished later on. And like the lines are so, and I don't know if he used different like stuff like I don't know if later on he used like markers and ink, and in this it was more like pencils and stuff. It's had a little bit more sketchiness to it. So, but I enjoyed it a lot, and you could definitely see the Batman animated series in this.
Oh, for sure.
I was just like Gotham, specifically Gotham, and like the Batcave and stuff. The environments looked like. This motherfucker must have, because he actually was an animator for the animated TV show. I don't remember what season he was on, if he was on one of the like the New Adventures stuff, or if he was on Batman Beyond, or I don't know which seasons he was on, but he definitely nailed this like Art Deco 50s Batman cool looking stuff from the animated series. Especially like the Batcave looks exactly like the one from the animated series.
Yeah, it's got the coin and the big dinosaur.
Yeah, the main difference is like the Batmobile looks like the 50s Batmobile,
one, yeah.
Not the one from the animated series. So he's probably like, I don't want to draw that. I don't want to draw that one. So, but this starts off, and it's kind of like Batman early. So like he's around Gotham, but he's working with. Or he's like tracking down people that like where he's already fought some people that are bad, like super villains. Like for a while he was just fighting like crime, like regular crime, and then he's fighting like mafia kind of crime, like syndicates and shit. And then Falcone, Chucky Saul, who's mentioned in this. And whenever I hear Chucky Saul or read Chucky Saul, I always think of Batman: Mask of the Phantasm. You've seen that movie, right?
Yeah, it's been a while, but
so there's a scene specifically at the beginning. I think it's like the first kill, where like Phantasm is like, Chucky Saul, your angel of death awaits, and I'm like, this just burned into my head how fucking creepy that was at like age 7 or whatever.
Yeah.
So whenever I hear Chucky Saul, it's always in the voice of the Phantom or whatever. But yeah, so basically, Batman is kind of taking down all these normal villains or whatever, corruption in the city and whatnot, but then. He has now these super villains, we'll say, like started coming up. So villains that he has created, like the Joker, and that is specifically spawned just from him being around.
Yeah, Joker. They mentioned Two-Face. There's one little catch a glimpse of the Penguin in a panel.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not hard grizzled Batman, and it's not super early, but it's like him really stirring.
Year 2.
Yeah, year 2 or 3.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so he has just tracked down or he's trying to track down the Joker. The Joker has murdered a bunch of people with gas, as he does, laughing gas, and they've laughed themselves to death and whatnot. And they're like, we got to find him. And he's after this one guy specifically who. I guess there was like a heist as part of Joker's thing, and like his plan, and he robs like I think it's like, what is it? It's like is this at Christmas time or something? Because it was like some kind of charity.
I think so.
It almost made me think, because this is a little bit like what's that Dickens play?
Oh yes, exactly.
Because like Christmas Carol.
Yeah, Christmas Carol.
Oh my God, I can't remember.
No, you're fine. I was gonna say Scrooge because you said
Yes.
that, and there's specifically a scene that is like word for word almost of that.
Yes,
we'll get to
there
it.
is a little bit of the Dickens, Christmas Carol in this.
Yeah.
But basically, Batman has.
Well, he had a tussle with the Joker, and he got stabbed a couple times.
Yeah, which I thought was cool. They actually showed Joker like fucking stab, and this is like a pretty violent comic, especially for the time.
Yeah.
Like. I'm trying to think. I mean, this is after Batman got his back broke, but when he gets his back broke, it's just like a panel of snap. There's no like blood or anything. I mean, the most violent thing I could think of that's happened in Batman comics since this or before this was, Killing Joke with Barbara, and then, whatever was in Batman Dark Knight, kind of that kind of blood or whatever. So that stuff was pretty bloody, but the general Batman title, and especially when they look like the animated series, you're not really expecting it to be this bloody or whatever. So I mean, it's not over the top, but it was definitely over the top for this animated style. I thought I was like, holy shit, I didn't know that it goes this far. But yeah, so he's like getting woozy, because he's losing so much blood. He's tracking down this guy who was part of Joker's plan. Apparently stole the money that Joker had stolen. Like, he stole the money from the Joker, and he hid it. And so, like, he's got to find this dude to find out where that money is.
Buster Snibbs. That's his name. Like the names.
Yeah. And so he's tracking down this guy, and of course he found him. And he's following this guy, and he's like, okay, I'm going to, like, track him, because obviously he's going to go to the money. And that's where, like, that's where, of course, this guy's going to go, because he hid the money somewhere. So he's following him. The guy shows up at the dam, and he's like, the dam, it must be, like, hidden somewhere on the top of the dam or whatever, because he's climbing the ladder, which I was like, there's no ladder to the top of a dam. I was like, I'm calling bullshit on this. There's got to be some kind of lock gate or something on that ladder that goes you want to go to the top of the dam and look down? Sure. Just peek over the edge?
Well, maybe not in Gotham in this time.
In the 50s? I guess so. They didn't have health codes.
Yeah, safety standards were not
codes.
up to...
OSHA was not around in this Batman. But, so like this guy... He goes to the edge, and Batman's like, "Oh, like what's going on now?" Like, I thought he was going to get money, but now apparently he's just going to jump off. So he jumps off, and Batman, even being all woozy, is able to like batarang around his leg. What's it? Snubs? Is that his last name?
Snibs.
So Snibs' his last leg, and so like it's kind of funny because Batman's on one side of the dam. And the guy's on the other side of the dam about to, like, hit the water, but he barely stops him. And then Batman even slams into the wall, and he's like, hitting the wall at 35 miles an hour. That was not fun. And, like, he's like, but at least, we're not dead, and he's not dead, and it's fine. So then he pulls him up, and the guy's like, oh, my God, like, what the fuck, man? Like, I'm trying to kill myself, And he pulls his gun out on him. But I like the art in this because it almost looks like he pulls out like a fish or something, because Batman is so disoriented by hitting the wall at 35 miles an hour, and he's so weak, the blood loss and everything, that this guy pulls out a gun, and it's all blurry. And then all of a sudden he sees it's a gun. And then the guy's just like, do you know what's going to happen to me? Like, the Joker is going to find me and kill me, and so is Chucky Saul. Like, if it's not the Joker, Chucky Saul is going to.
Batman's like, it's fine. They're going to be in jail. You're going to be safe.
And he's like, yeah, he never breaks out, ever. Like literally, Joker breaks out every week whenever he decides to. So yeah, like, and then he says, like, I couldn't bear the thought of my wife and daughter in the hands of that maniac, so I killed them myself. So he murders his family because, like, preemptively, like, I don't want the Joker to do whatever the fuck the Joker is going to do to my family.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just quickly shoot them in the head or whatever.
So this is literally a couple pages in.
Yeah. The second page, the third page of this book. This dude murdered his family.
The guy he's after has murdered his family, and then Batman's like, taken aback by that.
Yeah. And then he's like, Buster, no. And the guy's like, I'll see you in hell, you mass lunatic. And then, like, blows his own brains out. And there's, like, fucking blood on Batman's face as his head like explodes, and then you just see all this blood dripping down the dam. I'm like, oh my God, this is way more bloody than I thought it was going to be. Then it shows him like now Batman has just suffered like a giant, like I guess it will be like PTSD thing, like moment where like someone murdered or killed themselves in front of him, saying kind of like it was your fault because the Joker is only around because of you, kind of thing.
Yeah, like you catch the Joker, but he keeps breaking out, so it's not like anybody's really.
So why are you even here, kind of thing? And so then we see him driving home in like the '50s Batmobile, and the speed just getting higher and higher and higher. And like by the time he gets to the Batcave, he's literally like going 160 miles an hour, and then he's got to like slam on the brakes before it like almost goes off the cliff in the Batcave. And then he's just having like an existential crisis. He's like, what have I done?
Yeah, he has like flashes of like, people talking about Batman on the news.
Yeah, and I thought this was cool because it's actually like people from the animated show. You have like that doctor. I don't remember his name. The one that like
psychiatrist, right?
Hugo Strange.
Oh, is this Hugo Strange?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's Hugo Strange saying like, he craves fame, but only as his fictional construct, the Batman. Of course, it indicates both schizophrenia and split personality. So it's like he was probably on some talk show talking about the Batman or whatever. And then same with like the mayor talking to Gordon about Batman and how like fucked up he is. And then he's like, oh, sorry about that. Or whatever. Because like Bruce Wayne is standing right there. He's like, oh, Bruce, I didn't see you there or whatever. But like Bruce is like, oh, you were talking about me. Like, and then like, but of course the mayor didn't know that's Batman. Yeah. And then yeah, and like you see, there's another guy. I don't know who this guy's supposed to be, but it's just like a guy saying, "I'll see you in hell, you mass lunatic." It's not the guy that we just saw, but he's saying the same words.
Yeah.
As that guy. So, yeah, like I said, he gets there and he's like, "What have I done?" And then he has like a breakdown where he's like talking to his mom and dad, like. And this is where you get to see like the whole like Batcave, and it looks exactly like the animated show. And I was like, wow, it looks so cool. Like, but he's just basically like going through like this existential crisis where he's like, I can't do it. Like I don't want to do this anymore. Like it's too much of a toll on me. Am I doing anything really other than causing more trouble by these new villains coming out and being worse or whatever than just organized crime or regular crime. And so he's like, basically it's just not enough, and this is touched on in a lot of like in Mask of the Phantasm and stuff, like because he's like, I want to leave, like I want to stop being Batman because I met Andrea Beaumont again in that, like can't I stop, like when is enough? Yeah. There's some similar themes in some of these.
That's happened. They even touch on that in the Dark Knight trilogy. Like eventually, he's like,
"Yes, that's
I don't know if I can do this anymore. I'm just causing more pain. People died."
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we know, like from what happens in Dark Knight, he gives up at some point, right? And he comes back, right? So, and they always say that's like, oh, when Jason Todd got beat up or whatever and murdered, that's when the shift happened. But they haven't really. I mean, there's been a lot of stories since that happened now, so so they haven't really made that come true yet. But he's going through this, and he just kind of like has a nervous breakdown, we'll say, and all of a sudden he starts hearing a voice, and he looks up at his computer after he kind of like his head was down at the computer desk, and we see a very like crazy looking Batman figure. It's like, you think you know pain, coward? I'll show you pain. And it's like, or we should do it in the Batman voice. You think you know pain, coward? I'll show you pain. Yeah, and so.
And it's cool because it's like the Batman cowl, but then like, and the eyes from like the animated series kind of, but then the mouth almost looks kind of Clayface, as you were saying.
Yeah, like it looks like Clayface because yellow teeth, yellow eyes. The teeth are kind of like weirdly placed and like oddly
large.
Off and large. Yeah, so like it looks like Clayface. And you think like, wait a second, like, is this some?
Throughout this next part of the story, like there are a couple of times where they lean like maybe it could be something. Maybe it
is
could
it
be
his
a
mind
villain,
or is it actually a villain or is it some kind of, is it the Scarecrow with his fear gas or what's going on?
It's really cool. This is a really cool story.
Yeah, and the one thing I liked is this is called Ego. Like you get to see a little title card here. It says Ego, and then it's actually like colon. A psychotic slide into the heart of darkness. So this is like him going into his dark self against his dark inner self or whatever. So it's Bruce Wayne versus Batman kind of thing in this. And so basically Bruce is like, I don't want, all I wanted to do was like, make revenge my parents, make it so no one else had to live through that or whatever. But like all I'm ending up doing is causing more harm and more fucked up stuff to happen. Like this Buster dude killed his whole fucking family and himself just because he was working with the Joker.
And he thinks that the Joker isn't gonna. Basically, I didn't make it safer by capturing the Joker because he's just gonna break out again.
Yeah, and as he's kind of arguing with this computer screen, you see this like green gas start to go around him, and that's why you're like, oh wait, is this like fear gas or something, a fear toxin?
Yeah.
But then it's like this big ass Batman appears behind him and is like, lately you've been lacking faith, and like he's just like, he's basically the ghost of Christmas past, we'll say. Like that's kind of how this is portrayed. Then we see like he sends Bruce back into time to see like, this is like what you missed. Like this is what happened.
This is kind of how he was created, the Batman persona.
The Batman persona was created when, and it cuts back to like a Christmas where Bruce got like his Zorro toy. And he even takes him to Christmas, and he's like, this is the first day we met, Bruce. And like, basically, this is like when the dad gives the mom the pearls, those pearls that are in every fucking Batman movie now. Yeah. I mean, at the time that this seems kind of annoying now, when you read it in comics, because they've done it in like every movie and everything overdone. But I think at the time, this wasn't like an outplayed thing, because if you think about it, the only Batman, I'm trying to think of ones that showed the pearls and like falling, like they always show the pearl necklace getting ripped apart and the pearls falling off. I'm like, that must have been a cheap ass.
Which would not happen with an actual pearl necklace.
But yeah, or it might have, but it was like a dollar store pearl necklace.
Yeah,
he's like, honey, they're from Spain or Barcelona or whatever. Like, I swear they're genuine. But yeah, so like, this wasn't as played out as it is now. But like, because like the Nolan movies hadn't been made yet or anything.
Yeah.
So those were the ones that really showcased a lot of that. And then Zack Snyder did it again, and then so it's kind of like it's been done a lot now. So
we'll see if it's in the next one.
It probably will be, knowing DC's track record of how they make movies.
But this is a it's kind of a little bit of a precursor, because it's like it shows them, but it's also like beforehand, it's like, because it's Christmas, they're not going out then.
One thing I like about this, this is not the night of them dying or whatever. So, but one thing I like about this is you get to see them as a family in like a nice way. We're like, you see how in love the parents are. It's not just them at like the movies, like, come on, Bruce. Like,
that's true, yeah.
And then they die. Like, usually all you get is like, hey, you skip, I'm dead. Like, like, stay away from my wife, bam, bam. That's all you get of the dad or the mom or whatever. So it was nice to see them like on a regular day on Christmas morning with, the dad and or Thomas and Martha. We're both named Martha.
Why'd you say that name?
Yeah, why'd you say that name? You get to see them like kind of hugging on the couch and being all lovey to each other and stuff, and then you get to see a little bit of their like I guess the struggles that they have with him being a doctor. But like the dad, on Christmas Eve after dinner or during dinner, I guess, gets a call to be like, one of your patients is sick and
they need you now.
Yeah, they need you now. It seems like this might be the end or something. Something's going on that's really important. She's like, do you have to go now? And he's like, yes, like I need to go, kind of thing. And so, I don't know why. This is one of the weird things, but I don't know why he lets Bruce come with him. Maybe he doesn't think it's as serious as it is. But he's like, Bruce is like, can I go with you, Dad? And he's like, sure. Why don't you
can help navigate?
Come, you can be my navigator and bring Zorro with you or whatever. So keep in mind, this is like the day Batman said, you met me or whatever. Like, so what does that mean exactly? Like, what is this going to? So
what does Batman represent?
Yeah, what does Batman represent, and like what would cause Batman to meet him in this day that's not the day that his parents died, kind of thing. So, so he goes with his dad to this house, and literally, he's just waiting for his dad in the car. But the dad is upstairs, like, as this dude's like dying, and he's like, "Oh my god, like call an ambulance. He's going into cardiac. Like, I can't do anything. He's dying." Like, and then Bruce just shows Bruce, and he's like, playing with Zorro, thinking he's like pretending he's driving the car. The stupid shit you do as a kid.
Basically, yeah, and he basically gets bored, and he's like, "I'm gonna go check on my dad."
Yeah, if this was nowadays, this kid would have someone would have broken the window and pulled that kid out and been like, "Oh my god, he was locked in the car," and as a child, and then Bruce would have get taken away, put into foster care,
and then we wouldn't have had Batman,
or he would have fucked up Batman. But yeah, I'm more fucked up Batman, and so yeah, then basically, then I guess he takes him upstairs. He takes Bruce upstairs, and then
no, I think Bruce goes into the house.
Oh, is that what happens? Okay,
yeah.
They don't show Bruce leave the car necessarily, but I guess they just show him come upstairs.
That's what it seemed like. The last one made it seem like he was finally bored in the car.
Okay,
so he leaves Zorro. It shows Zorro just left in the car, and then I think he wanders into the house. It's like, what's taking Dad so long?
They show. I just assumed he was sitting next to it, he was bored of it. He just threw it on the chair. But yeah, probably. Duh. Now that you say that, he left the car.
Yeah, and then he wanders in, and he's like, Dad. He didn't say it, but wanders in the room, and then he sees his dad over the dead body.
The dead body looks fucked up. His face is fully in fear, terrified. His eyes are open. His mouth is frozen in fear.
Yeah.
So it's whoa.
This guy did not die peacefully.
Yeah, not in a fun way. He didn't die going out happy. No snoo. But yeah, so then the dad's so let's not tell your mom about this.
That wasn't some night, huh?
Yeah, and then Bruce is like, "Dad, was that man dead?" And he's like, "Yes, son, it was his time." Kind of, now they're gonna have this conversation that he did not expect that he was gonna have, kind of thing. And he even says "Are you and Mom gonna die?" And the dad's like, "Well, yep, everybody dies in their own time, but it's far away. It'll be
Ours is far away,
far away." And he's like, "You promise?" He's like, "Yeah, of course, promise 100%." And so basically, that's where the first. I guess is the first time he ever experienced death and the fear of death. Realizing that my parents can die or I can die and being "Oh, I'm terrified of that idea. I need to have the light on with Zorro next to me to protect me," kind of thing. And then, of course, his parents dying and the pearls falling off. that shit it's in this, but like I said, it wasn't.
At least it's a one page.
It's a 1 page thing, and the pearls are just falling, and it's not. Yeah, but I like how they did it because it's Bruce's face, and then you see a hand with a gun, and the gun is firing, and in the fire blast of the gun, you see the mother and father in the blast.
Yeah,
so
silhouettes.
Yeah, their silhouettes. So it's kind of a cool way instead of just showing bam bam or whatever, them actually dead or whatever. But yeah, so that's the first time Bruce felt fear about it, and that's basically what he's like. That's what we are. We're fucking fear.
Yeah,
we're the fear.
You may call me Batman, but my real name or whatever
is fear.
Is fear,
and I live within you. And so, that's pretty much. What he's talking about. He's like, that's what I am in this city. You bring fear to crime, and that's why, the city needs us, kind of thing. It's like he's justifying himself to Bruce, but also being we're needed. It says we were magnificent then, we descended on the city like an unholy instrument of vengeance. Relentless as a shark, blacker than their dark hearts. So he's just going out beating the fuck out of all these criminals, and then this is when he first started. So he's getting more and more notoriety in the papers. He's starting to get his bat signal, becoming chummy with the commissioner.
Yeah, he's like a one-man wrecking machine, taking out all the petty crime, then onto the criminal aspect of the mafia and the mobs, the underbelly in the town.
Yeah.
And that's the, he's we start basically we started out as this the reason to put fear into the hearts of people like that, so you don't have to feel that again. Like you're putting that on other people, basically.
Yeah,
and
it's funny also. Like he even brings up like Robin. He says like the evil Batman inside of him says, "I have endured this as well as some of your somewhat of your pitiful need of companionship." And Bruce is like, "What do you mean? Like, of course I would work with Gordon." He's like, "I wasn't talking about Gordon. Talking about the boy."
The boy.
And then we see like Robin. And he's like, he can take care of himself. He's like, do you honestly believe that? Like, you don't think this is going to end badly? Like, you having a child in the middle of all these fucking crimes and shit. And then we see, like, all these people are getting more and more violent. And it's just, like, nurturing more and more of an extreme type of criminal. And it shows, like, power mad geniuses. And it's like Victor Strange or Hugo Strange. And then, I think this is supposed to be Scarecrow, right?
Yeah.
The Scarecrow design is different than the one in the animated series, but it looks cool. Looks kind of like a mix of
Bane and Scarecrow.
Yeah, Bane and Scarecrow, or like there was like the new animated series where like Scarecrow was like a skeleton looking motherfucker.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So it's kind of like that too, but with the same bag over his face. I don't know. He looks scarier than the one in the animated series. Then you get Catwoman. And then you get the Penguin and stuff. So you're just talking about like, oh, like this is what it's leading to. And of course, you know, it's just going to lead to us like realizing what we're going to need to do. Like if they're going to up the ante, we need to up the ante, Bruce. And what that means is we need to murder these fucking people. We got to kill the Joker.
Yeah, well, basically, because he's saying like they just get worse and worse. And who is the worst? He's like, who has actually killed and murdered so many people in the town? Well, it's one person. It's that person that keeps getting out. It's the Joker.
Yeah.
We got to fucking kill the Joker.
We got to kill the Joker. So she's trying to convince Bruce that, like, you know, the Joker is like where we need to cross that line. I mean, and the funny thing is, if by his logic, that's only going to then create another worse thing, right?
Yeah.
Like another worse Joker or whatever is the next step, to which he would then have to continue crossing the line to where it's like Punisher or some shit. So like, but like he's like, okay, like, you know, I don't want, like, we're not killers. I don't want to have blood on my hands. And he's like, you speak to me of blood? I'll show you blood. I'll show you death. And basically he like brings up the whole fact that like technically, like, you not killing these people is causing more deaths because of all the people that they hurt. So if you don't kill the Joker, he's just going to kill a bunch of people, just like the guy that killed himself and his whole fucking family. Like, that's the blood that's on your hands more than, you know, because if you couldn't just kill one guy, so 3 people or 10 people or whatever had to die instead, you know, kind of thing.
It's like that soldier that didn't kill Hitler. Exactly.
When he was a baby,
okay.
Went back in time.
No, the guy in World War One. I forget the soldier's name, but you've heard that story?
No, I've never heard of this.
Quick side chain. This is real.
Wait. John's history moment. Okay, go for it.
There is a soldier in World War One. He's like the most decorated soldier, and he's in the trenches.
Apparently not. He didn't do the one thing
he
needed to do.
Well, so there was like a ceasefire moment. And then this person's like walking over. He's wounded through the mist, and he couldn't tell if it was an American or I'm sorry, a British or a German soldier. And then he sees it's a German soldier, but he sees he's unarmed and he's badly wounded and whatnot.
Did he see his mustache though?
So he lowers.
It's a dead giveaway.
He lowers his. What's World War One? So he lowers his gun. And they both have a moment, and he looks their way. And supposedly, from him and eyewitness accounts that it was supposedly Hitler.
I've never heard this before.
Yeah, no. It's real. You can look it up.
Oh, I believe you. I've never heard this before. So
if he had just killed that one,
I was thinking like, you know, Cable goes back in the past and murders baby Hitler or something. That should be. You know, if they're talking about like, you know, Marvel's all SJW or whatever now, they should just do that comic. Like Cable goes back in the past and murders baby Hitler. There you go.
There you go.
I just wrote a number one selling comic for Marvel. So, but yeah. So anyway, back to Batman.
Back to Batman.
Yeah. So then he goes like, I like this. This was like a big nod, I thought, to like he actually references Killing Joke in this because he's like, you know, if you just think back to that night at the chemical plant. And what would have happened if you had just fucking done it or whatever. Yeah. And it's like shows the Red Hood running from him, just like in the Killing Joke and everything. So like, and if you had just murdered him instead of pushing him in the vat or tried to save him and then let him fall down in the vat of acid or whatever, then, you know, we wouldn't be here kind of thing. And then, you know, it shows him like the night before where he got stabbed and shit. And he's like, it's your stupid code of honor causing this bullshit to happen. You know, this is the problem. And so basically it ends up where like they kind of have like a stalemate where like,
and this is my favorite part of it because this is where we're talking about how it kind of goes Charles Dickensy and becomes like Christmas Carol because he's Batman or the fear Batman figure has gone through all of this and is like, you know, okay, I've laid it out like this is what it's gonna do, and then
what do you say?
Yeah, what do you say? And then Bruce is like, well, you know, everybody lives in harm's way. And like, he kind of goes into like, you know, his spiel was like, well, you know, none of that really matters. You know, I know who I am and I'm not, you know, I'm not crazy. I'm not mad and I'm not going to ever fall into the Joker's kind of chaos. And he's like, you know what? Actually, I'm pretty sure that this is like some kind of hallucination or something. He's like, I must have eaten something bad or yeah, you know what? That's what it is. He's like, you're
just an underdone
potato. And specifically, one of my absolute favorite, I've quoted and like put up stuff on my page of this all the time is Scrooge is talking to Marley and he's like, I had enough because he's here, you know, he's saying all these crazy things. He's like, I must have just had some like bad mustard or you know what? It was an old potato. That's what it is. You're an old potato.
Yeah, there you go.
That's like exactly.
I don't think I've seen Scrooge, so I didn't know that.
That's my favorite version. It's with Albert Finney. It's a 1970s. It's a good one. Just check it out.
Yeah,
for Christmas time. But
but then right away as he says that, like the Batman figure's like silence and like shoots him with like a fucking whatever power laser or whatever.
Yeah, like some kind of beam
out of his hand or like this power push, you know, force push him out, and then. He's like, you know, you will regret this. Like, didn't you swear to your parents that you would like, you know, dedicate your life to this crusade and like now you turn your back on me? Like in the name of what? Your so-called life? And then like it flashes back to like Bruce and like just the shit that he goes through.
It's really mundane things.
Yeah, just his regular life, you know.
Like,
and
give money to charity. Oh, you gotta like go to this meeting or
talk to this girl, pretend to be interested, and like I wanted to know who some of these stories were. Like I actually like these little vignettes they showed of his life. One of them was like this girl who's like, always let me down, Bruce. I'm sorry, but like I'm like, what? What's that? Is that just some girl that he was dating, or is that like?
I assume a girl he's
Kyle or something. Or who was that?
He kind of gave me like a Selena vibe, but
she looks like Selena.
I assumed it was like, oh, I gotta go. There's something going on. We'll catch up with his date later.
Right.
You know, because he's always running off.
But basically, his life doesn't look that great. But he's like, you know what? I've had enough of this madness. And he's like, madness. I'll show you madness. And then he kind of like swallows him whole. And then as he like does that, Bruce wakes up in like a sweat. And was like, oh, shit. Whew. It was all a dream kind of thing. And then all of a sudden he sees Batman, like the big Batman still there. He's
standing
like,
there.
Son of a bitch. And so basically they come, like he talks about it. He's like, you know, you're right, Batman. I know that the choices I've made have had repercussions. And tonight on that bridge, you know, I came face to face with the damage I've done. And I don't think I can live with it anymore. And you tell me that I have no choice, that I owe it to those I've sworn to protect, and those that I failed to protect. So tell me, like, how to carry on. If you're telling me how I'm supposed to carry on, you know, give me a thing. He's like, I have a solution. Let's just, you know, look at we can just kill some people, and then like because he talks about Harvey Dent.
Yeah, he's like, think about, yeah, cool, because of this, yeah, he's like split personality.
Yeah. yeah, but also like, you know, he was your friend. And he wants to be good. He was a district attorney, and then he got burned, and now he's got this horrible thing on his face or whatever. He's like, and you know, he was your friend, and now he's like now he's horrifically split, and he's like one of your worst enemies as well at the same time. It's kind of like a crazy thing. So basically, he's like, you need to give in to that dark side so you can take on like these new bad guys. And like, think of it like if you need like a more spiritual example, like, you know, every culture has like that badass warrior, that killing machine. Like, I like this. I specifically like this. He's like, ancient cultures speak of, you know, simple tribesmen that are inhabited by great warrior spirits. So it's like, you know, just the everyday man can become like some crazy fucked up, you know, fighting machine or whatever. And like, that's what you're becoming. Like you're a rich motherfucker, so you're not really an everyday man, but you know, you're just a regular guy as far as, you know, you don't have powers or anything. And it says like, you know, modern training and mental conditioning can turn a small town school teacher into a killing machine. And then it shows like a Vietnam soldier or whatever. So it's like, like these things can be done. And he's like, well, I'm not a killer. He's like, yeah, but in war, there's casualties. Yeah. If we're going to have war on these fucking people, we're going to have casualties.
He's like, remember your kid, even your beloved Zorro, lived the double life.
Yeah, exactly. Don he would stab people.
Yeah.
Carve the Z in their chest.
Yeah.
And so basically, they're arguing. They're like the Batman is like, you know, you need to kill people. And then Bruce is like, no, I don't want to kill people. And then Batman makes a gun appear, and he's like, well, then you're going to have to kill me. Because if you don't kill me, I'm not going to like go away, and I'm going to take you over kind of thing. And he's like, this gun, like, we both know what it is. Like, use it. Use that gun. And he specifically brought the gun that killed his parents back just to fuck with him. And he's like, you could do it. It's like, free me. Free yourself. Just pull that trigger. Like, and he's pointing, and he can't do it. And he's like, it would be like committing suicide kind of thing. And this is where he has, like, his moment where he's like, you know what? Like, we got it. Like, I think we can figure this out. I'm gonna have to live with, like, there's a line you're gonna have to live with, which is, we can't murder anybody, Batman, but you need to exist, and I'm gonna have to live with the horrible, like, pressure of, like, knowing that bad people are going to come just because I'm around. And they're going to hurt people, but I'm going to do my best to stop them. So, like, it's a weird, like, you know, agreement they come to. Yeah. Like, we're not going to kill anybody, but I need to be hopeful to the people of this town, so I can't kill anybody. You can't cross that line while you're, you know, you can't murder a pickpocket in front of the lady that he's pickpocketing and expect her to be like, ooh, Batman's great, you know, like, because you need her to go, like, he helps me out. And he brought that guy to justice, not murdered him. You know, so, and he's like, and, you know, if you can live with that, then Bruce Wayne can live with the responsibility of, you know, with that on his shoulders of, like, the toll of whatever these new villains are going to put on the city kind of thing.
Yeah.
And whatever happens. And then the Batman, like the ego Batman, knowing that he is kind of beaten, is like, fine, agreed, I want to exist still or whatever, so maybe I can convince you later on. But then as he says, like, agreed, then all of a sudden it's like boom, and like poofs into a green smoke, and a picture falls down, and then we see there was like a standoff, and they're about to, like, Commissioner Gordon's there with the news, and they're like, we got the Joker cornered again, and he's got hostages, and he says he's gonna kill him, and there's, you know, all this stuff going on, and then, like, Gordon's like, oh man, he's not here yet. Like, normally he'd be here any second. And then, like, he, like, gets on he hears, like, oh, it's him. And, like, from one of his officers. And he gets on, like, I guess they have, like, a two-way radio they can talk to each other on. But he's like, oh, I was worried you weren't going to get here. Maybe something happened to you. He's like, something did happen, Commissioner. but I managed to come away from it in one piece. And it's like, haha, because he was like two minds arguing or whatever. And then like Gordon's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Can you please come here and kill the Joker, or not kill the Joker, but like help us bring him in? And you see what fell was the picture of his mom and dad and him together on that Christmas day, or Christmas picture or whatever. So, basically that's how it ends. Just leaves it hanging on that like happy note of he's never gonna cross that line. He's never gonna murder people. This is how he figured out. Like, this is when he decided, I'm never going to cross that line. He could have become like Thomas Wayne in that like alternate Batman.
The Flashpoint Batman?
Yeah, the Flashpoint Batman, where like he's going to murder everybody because, shit went bad or whatever. But he decides not to. So.
Not like the movie Batmans who definitely kill people. Maybe not, well, sometimes intentionally, but.
You mean like the Ben Affleck one or the.
All of them.
All of them.
Yeah, even the.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you push someone out of a building.
The only one I can't think. Yeah, exactly. Like the only one I can't think offhand if they did was the Clooney one, but like
I think the Clooney and the Schumacher ones are the
Schumacher.
Ones
Because they're a little less campy, but like, I
a little more campy.
A little more campy, I should say, yes. Because Michael Keaton one.
Oh, he kills people.
He kills people. I specifically remember as a kid the second I loved Batman.
He has machine guns on the front of his fucking Batmobile.
That's true. That too.
I
specifically remember the scene where he's like going to fight this one big guy and he punches him and the guy's like ha ha ha, but then he smiles real big because he put like this dynamite bomb on his chest and then pushes him into a manhole.
I'm sure he's fine.
And it explodes.
Yeah. So that.
But Batman doesn't kill.
Yeah, I mean, that's the weird thing about the movies is he definitely. I mean, at least in the Zack Snyder one, it's like, oh, he's supposed to be the older, more fucked up Batman. So he's like,
it's like Frank Miller-y Batman.
Yeah, the Frank Miller-y Batman. So it's like, okay, I get why that one would kill.
Yeah.
But the other ones don't really have a reason to as much, or they're supposed to be better than that. So
I guess Christian Bale just punches. I don't remember him.
I can't think off the top of my head if he like murders.
Yeah, I don't remember him purposefully.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely like,
He lets people.
People might have died in the process of. I mean, you never know. If you punch someone in the face, they could die a couple hours later.
Yeah.
They just cut to like all these guys who had their noses broken, and it turned out their splinters were in their brain of their nose bone. But yeah, so that's how this one ends. Kind of a happy note, but this was just like a landmark in his life, like where this was the night he decided to not be a killer. Like this is where he put down his code and like fought with himself about the
Batman code.
The Batman code of not killing. And so, yeah. And is there anything else that I didn't hit that?
Not for the main story, no.
All right. Well, in that case, John, what would you give this one?
I loved it. I thinking about doing my own miniseries.
Just Darwyn Cooke?
Just Darwyn Cooke. I know
you can just reread everything we've already read.
It's like, I know he doesn't have that much left as far as that we need to read anyway. But gosh, I love Darwyn Cooke.
Yes.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
I mean, I would say like the art, superb. The Batman story, short, sweet, simple, but like fun and like a lot of like cool references, cool like uniqueness to it. I like the way he did it and had Batman like arguing with himself and coming to that realization and like kind of going over like kind of reglazing over like everything Batman's been up to that point.
You could definitely have this scene in a movie too.
Oh yeah.
Or like you like all of a sudden just like this fucking juiced out Batman's like, you fucking pussy, should kill people.
Yeah.
And then he's like, no, like not, like have a weird like, and you can even do it where like, oh, the fear toxin is causing him to have these hallucinations or whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't even have. Yeah, they could put a little more that way. But yeah, I loved it, and yeah, I mean it's pretty much near perfect. Like I don't really have anything bad to say about it.
Yeah,
it's shorter, I guess. And
yeah, we should say the trade of this. We kind of mentioned it, but you can find the hardcover of this. It's called Batman, Ego, and Other Tales. So it has a couple other stories that Darwyn Cooke has done with other people that he either drew or wrote, and so like we said, there's a Catwoman and some other stuff in there. There's some other little side Batman stories that I also liked a lot as well.
Yeah, they're all a little fun. The only one I'll throw mention is specifically one he did with Tim Sale. He wrote the story, and then Tim Sale did
I love that Catwoman.
Yeah, and particularly with the art, obviously. That story is really short. It's like, I don't know, maybe like 12 pages. And it's just it's called Date Night, but like, the Dark Knight. And it's Catwoman leading Batman on a chase all throughout the city. And every place that they happen upon or go through is like a date night cliche kind of thing. Yeah. All leading up to Batman eventually like getting like tangled in her whip-on accident upside down, and then she like kisses
her
him,
lingerie.
She there's all these date night cliches, and then he like gets tangled for a second. She kisses him. She's like, oh, okay, maybe we'll do more on a second date. Maybe I'll let you take me on a second date. It was really fun. Yeah, quick little like.
And so he's just like, son of a bitch.
Basically,
that was a date. I don't know if I want to do this.
You could totally see that in.
Look at her in that Tim Sale costume. How could you say no?
So yeah, but all the little stories were fun. So it was a nice little like cool little collection. Yeah, of like, and these are neat things.
You can't really find these elsewhere. You'd have to track down the issues that they appeared in, which are like some of them are hard to find. Like that whole Solo series is not easy to find. The Batman Black and White issues are not really easy to find. I mean, you can find them, but they might. I don't know how they are now because it's so high. Like everything's so expensive now with the speculation going on. But like a lot of those back issues are not that easy to find. So if you just want to read those stories, this is like a really good collection. If you're like a Darwyn Cooke completist, definitely get the hardcover. It's worth it. It's lovely. But yeah, so what did you give it a number?
I didn't give it a number yet. I've been him and Han. I'm gonna give it a 9.
Give it a 9. Wow.
I loved it.
That's amazing.
I like you said, I'm
so happy that we did this podcast so that you could get into Darwyn Cooke and I could expose you to some wonderful art of his. So it just makes me happy.
I love doing it with you, man.
Yeah. And I hope our listeners have checked him out too, because he's someone that not everybody talks about. Like artists talk about him. That's mostly people that I've heard talk about Darwyn Cooke as artists.
But his stories are great.
Yes. Please do yourself a favor and go read. Even this being a short one is a great one to start
This is perfect. Yeah. You know a little bit about Batman? Check out this story because it's quick, super quick read, and it's fun and it's beautiful.
Right. My only caveat is this is his first one, so it only gets better from here kind of thing. I mean, like we said, Justice League New Frontier is the opus, his magnum opus kind of thing, and then even more than that being his magnum opus, that's his like DC magnum opus. Then you have the Parker series that he did with IDW, and that's like his labor of love.
It's so good.
It's so fucking good. Go read those, please, especially if you like crime.
I've only read the first 2 trades, but it's so good.
We're gonna read all of them. We'll get through it. I gotta space them out because not everybody, not all of our listeners are like, oh, I want to listen to another Parker, But like, we'll get there. And let us know if you like it or if you want to hear more of those, because we can definitely move those up in the list as our list just always continues to grow. So, but generally we do whatever the fuck we want. So sometimes I'm like, I feel like reading Parker. We'll do Parker. Just like this, I was just like, let's just read Batman Ego. It sounds fucking great. Like,
we're not the Batman podcast, but we have done a lot of Batman stories.
Batman's fucking awesome.
To be fair, Batman's got a lot of damn good stories.
Yeah, I mean, I've been putting off the White Knight series because that's at least 2 trades right now.
Yeah.
He's working on a third called Beyond the White Knight, which is probably about Batman Beyond, tying that into the universe. So
that'd be cool.
I'm like, this is only going to get better. Like, so
I know you told me how good they are.
I fucking love those series. Sean Gordon Murphy is a genius. So big fan of those books. But yeah, like I can't just shove Batman into everybody's face all the time. So, we space them out. We're trying to do more manga now too. So that kind of added a lot of stuff. But yeah, so you give it a 9. Wow. That says a lot about how much you love Darwyn Cooke and this story specifically. I'm going to give this one because I think I can't remember if we gave New Frontier a 10 or a 9.
I don't remember either. Yeah.
But I can't imagine It's not
It wasn't
lower
lower
than
than
9.
that. No way.
So I'm gonna give this one an 8.5, 8.5, because only because if I gave New Frontier a 9, because I don't know if I've given anything a 10 other than like Swamp Thing or whatever, but like, a 10 is like perfection or whatever, and I really should have given that a 10 if I didn't. I might retroactively just say that's a 10, but like if that was a 10, this is a 9. If that was a 9, this is an 8.5. So I don't remember, but we'll just say it's either a 9 or an 8.5 depending on what I gave New Frontier. And Parker, those ones I think I gave 9s as well. So those just this is like, someone who loves the venue not the venue, the art, the medium is what I was trying to say. Someone who loves the medium of comics and specifically is an amazing master artist, just fucking telling amazing stories that like hit home every time. He figures out a way to do it, and we've talked about Darwyn Cooke enough probably, but you're probably sick of it. But please go check out Darwyn Cooke. He's fucking amazing. And if you haven't watched the Batman animated series, there's supposedly a new animated series coming out on HBO soon.
Yep.
That just got talked about this week, which looked a lot like Darwyn Cooke art, specifically the Batman that they showed just had the long ears, kind of like the New Frontier Batman.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wonder if it's going to be like his style or whatever. That'd be fucking awesome.
The nostalgia is high for a lot of that stuff right
Yes.
now. I would be surprised.
I would love it. So HBO, do that if you're listening, HBO. And yeah, so I'm gonna give this. I'm giving it a 9 because I'm just gonna assume I gave New Frontier a 10.
He's retroactively if it's not. That's what we're saying.
Retroactively I'm giving that a 10. So we'll give this a 9. You give this a 9. It's only a 9 because this is just a 64-page one shot of his first thing ever that he did for DC. So
damn, it's good.
And damn, it's fucking good. So gotta love it. I mean, if I had read this, like in my mind, when you watch Batman animated series and then you go to read the comics, you're like, what happened to the art? Like a lot of times you pick up a comic book and it just doesn't look as good as either the covers, specifically the covers, but also if you watch Batman the animated series, you're like, that's the Batman I know.
What is this?
Like, and it's such a good design and everything, and then like, what is this shitty drawing that's in the interiors of this book? So like, when you open a book like this, you're like, that is correct. Like, like that is exactly how it should be. So, yeah, definitely a 9 on this. We could talk about this for another hour, just how fucking great Darwyn Cooke is. So we're gonna stop it right there. Next week we are going to be reading the manga Gyo, I think is how it's pronounced, by Junji Ito, which is like a horror manga. So it's kind of, I read this actually already.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, this is fucking awesome. Because because it's manga and I don't know if it's going to be good to read for the podcast, I have to read it first. And then when I go, oh, this was fucking awesome, I go, John, you got to read this for the podcast. So that's kind of how we're doing manga right now. So,
I'm down. So, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's like a parent. You're checking it out for me first.
Yeah, I got to make sure.
Are
It's
the fans going to
age-appropriate.
like it? Is it going to be okay for John to read?
John nightmares, that kind of thing. So
nice.
Yeah. So we're gonna read Gyo by Junji Ito, and it's a fucked up book. It's just to give our listeners, if you want to read it beforehand. And you don't know what it's about, it's kind of about like it's kind of a story like The Thing, except not in the Arctic. It's like if some weird monster was appearing out of fish in the ocean kind of thing and taking over bodies that way instead of like in the Arctic like the movie The Thing. So but specifically on Japan and its neighboring islands, because obviously he's Japanese, so he's gonna write. He's gonna write it in his land. He's not gonna write it in some other weird place. Yeah. We're gonna read that one. So check it out. Read it beforehand if you want to not have us spoil it, or if you want to have us spoil it, just listen to the fucking episode. It's fucking awesome, and I can't wait for you to read that. But until next time, if you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can email us at planes, trains, and comic books, all one word, @gmail.com.
And don't forget about our Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube channel for exclusive content. Check us out, guys.
Yeah.
Like to like, share, and subscribe.
yeah, I'm having fun with. We're gonna be putting out some more reviews and stuff. I'm trying to get a little bank going so that I can do it more consistently. So yeah, we'll get some of those out. I've been reading a lot of manga, a lot of stuff I'm reviewing, so should be interesting and fun. But until next time,
We'll see you on the next one.
bye.